Now, whether you believe it or not, China is at the apex when it comes to economy. Because why? Their educational system was restructured to face their problem. So when you come to Nigeria or almost my country, the first question should ask yourself or ask anybody around is, what are the problems that Nigeria are facing? One. And number two, the educational system in Nigeria is it really solving the problem that we are facing? That is the problem. Now, I'm still in China. This is why I always use China as a case study because this was a country that we understand very well that these are countries that has one of the most populated people in their own country. Like China was clocking last time I checked was 2.8 billion people. Yes, but they are doing well. Understand? What did they do? They discovered that most of the things they are learning as education is not really solving their problem. Education is not complete until you pass three dimensions of domains. You must pass through your what? Your cognitive domain, your affective domain, and your psychological. So China was doing well in education, but it's not really solving their problem. There was nothing produced in China. So you have to restructure to the extent that they have to restructure to the extent that you must pass through three domains of man. So the structure is that you have to come to a place, they teach you things that will affect your cognitive domain, things that will affect your affective domain, that's morals. Then the last one, which is one of the most important, is your psychomotor. So China believes that anything you are learning, you should be able to practicalize it to bring something.
Wow.
So in Nigeria right now, what are the problems that we are facing? And the system of education that we are running in Nigeria isn't really solving the problem. A country that is not producing anything can go bankrupt at any time. Nigeria is not really producing something. Even the resources that we have, nobody is refining it. We keep on depending on what? In the outsiders. And we diminishing our economy. So education is come based on the system that we are running on this Nigeria. The education system we are running in Nigeria. So if we are in a position for me to change things, but I think first of all, I will check the problem and also restructure the system of education in Nigeria. For instance, there are people that are highly talented in this Nigeria, sir. I'm telling you. In the southeast where I belong, I've seen people build so many things, but no, we don't have suitable education to teach these people. We don't have it at all. There is nothing to teach them. You can't even produce someone that can say, okay, this is what we want to produce. Who can able to teach us this? We don't have it. So education is scam when the system of education is wrong. What do I mean by being wrong? It's not solving the problem this country is facing.
If you happen to be the commissioner of education today, what are the first three things you would do?
Wow, that's a very good question. Okay, first of all, I have mentioned one. The curriculum of education we are in Nigeria is quite not encouraging. Yes, we emphasize more on the theoretical part and not the practical part. It is very wrong. If you are trying to teach people cognitive domain, trying to touch a little bit of affective, when they're not producing anything, the knowledge you are giving them they can waste. For instance, in some institutions, right? I don't want to mention any of the institutions. Today, that I'm talking to you right now, many of them are studying engineering, but they have not seen the practical side of it. Imagine a young man, a young youth, they're studying engineering, probably civil engineering for many years, I mean 4 years plus. But this person has not seen a quota. How will you feel about that? It's something that is so wrong. Imagine someone that's studying computer engineering, I've not even seen uh, how computer operates. I've not even seen the four walls of computer world. It's wrong. So these are things that we need to change. If you are trying to teach people, teach them the things that we need to practicalize. There are some science schools in this Nigeria. Definitely, if you come to their lab, they don't have the necessary equipment for them to do practicals. Understand? So if I made a commission of education in Enugu or in any state I find myself, say, the first thing I have to do, number one, for me to change the curriculum. Change the curriculum. Then number two, I discovered that most of the teachers and lecturers are not helping hands. In the sense that I studied education, I knew what education means. So I discovered that some students there is what is called reading styles. Reading styles. And what does that mean? There are people that understand things easily when it comes to oral teaching. Like you can call them audio learners. There are people that understand things easily when they see things. You can call them visual learners. There are people that understand things easily when they start practicalizing what you are telling them, want to touch it. They are called kinesthetic learners. Understand? So you coming to bring a particular course, a subject as a teacher, you check the content of that course or subject. If something that requires you bring instructional material to teach, you bring it. Yes. So if you are teaching people about cell, for instance, in biology, or teaching them about part of the body, for instance, you have to at least play a picture for some of them. They can't understand what you're saying. They can't understand where when it comes to all the like orally. Understand? Because people in education have what is called individual differences and what we call learning styles. So what am I trying to say in essence? I will also make sure that teachers in all round, both in higher institution, both in secondary schools, they make use of what? Instructional materials. And then the last one, I also create a system or a particular organization, whether it's called a organization or a team that teaches the students. Because when I'm also talking about the teachers, I want to talk about these things are like two-sided. You teach these are teams or club that teach students how to assimilate knowledge so they can be able to register in the subconscious mind. These are three things. Number one, I will make sure I change the curriculum system of education. Make sure it's easy to solve problems. Number two, making sure that teachers teaches effectively with instructional materials. Like I told you, I always tell you that there are people who understand through audio speakings, visual and kinesthetic. They must touch those things before they learn. Then number three, creating an organization or a team. That is their work to use how to reach out to students, teaching them how to read and assimilate information. We send the subconscious mind.
Okay, so I understand that there's so what you're saying. There are three set of people affecting the educational system, which is the commissioners, and that is the ministers, the lecturers and the teachers, the coach, and then the students, right? There's three set of people affecting the educational system.
Yeah.
Okay, now so let's start from the students here. So, as someone who teaches and also learn, what does paper success means to you?
Okay. I think paper success has to do with individual student focusing more on grades, scores, and not really understanding what they're taught him or her. And that's very bad. It's a disease we are facing in the education system in Nigeria. Mainly, you see students having focusing more of their energy on getting grades,
Okay,
scores, and
like they want to have
yes,
first grade,
exactly,
and then
exactly.
when you submit your CV, you don't. Then they ask you to do
You can't
practical.
defend your results.
So, but how possible is that?
Very, very possible.
Okay, can you just enlighten us?
Okay, it's very possible because there are a whole lot of things happening in the educational sector. I am in the educational sector, I know what is happening.
What is happening? Can you tell us what is happening? Let us know now because that's how I feel.
Okay, some of the faults and problems are coming from the student side.
Mm.
Some also faults and problems from the teachers and lecturers side.
Okay.
So let me just start from the lecturer side. Number one, the system of economy we are in Nigeria is very poor that we neglect teachers and lecturers. We don't pay them very well.
Okay.
So you see a teacher or lecturer trying to have an alternative, setting up questions that will make sure that students, after writing, they will still come back to him to sort.